Hello everyone, my name is Bree and welcome to Documented Journey. Today is a little bit of a different video that I've never done on my channel before. And before you go anywhere, I would like to at least preface with the fact that there are multiple reasons why people would use tarot and oracle cards, and it's not just for what the tarot cards were intended for. A lot of people like to collect them because they like a person's artwork. I will show you a deck that is amazing with their artwork, and it is a steal for the amount of pieces that you get, for the price, the size of the cards, everything like that. Also, people use them for journaling prompts or trying to like dive deeper in their feelings. So I'm gonna walk you through my collection, but if seeing my process on how I use these cards is something that you enjoy or you would enjoy, then leave me a comment down below, and if it is something that a few of you want to see, then I'll make that video. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the cards, and I'm going to talk about each deck and why I like them and why I don't. For the most part, I don't keep decks that I don't like, but I think my number one thing is obviously I have to enjoy the artwork. But then the second thing is the card stock does matter. If I cannot riffle shuffle, then I don't want to continue using them. They're just hard to use. I love to shuffle. That's kind of my two main points. So I'll first start with the very first deck that I've ever that I purchased, and then we'll go from there. So I'm just gonna shove these kind of out of the way. I like my decks in bags. Some of them are still in boxes, but for some reason I think that they just feel like more home. Like it feels more like they're at home if they're in a bag, if that makes sense. This is the pocket version of the Seers Tarot. I know a lot of you have seen this. I did edge mine in the green, but I love the Seers Tarot. I mean, the imagery is absolutely gorgeous. I think that you can relate to each card. Each card has depth, so you can really try and figure out what it's trying to depict. And, you know, maybe you can pull something from the card. That's how I kind of look at these cards, is intuitively. So if I pulled the Ten of Swords, I know nothing what swords is really about. I'm trying to learn, and I'll get into that in a minute. I'm trying to learn, but for the most part, I have to look it up every time because I just don't care. And I know that sounds probably bad, but that is truly what it is. What I do is I look at the image on the card and I try to relate to it in some way, shape, or form, and or I find something to journal about. Like, why is there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 birds? Because it's tens of swords. And I just kind of go from there. Like, you know, what are they doing? What is she doing? And I just try and relate to the card. Anyway, I was drawn to this deck because it has this sketchy style with these sketchy lines, and that is kind of my art in general. So that is one reason why I was drawn to this deck. I will say that one thing that I don't enjoy, I like the size. It could be a little bigger, to be honest. But one thing that I do not enjoy is the cardstock. I have a hard time shuffling these. The cards are fine, but the cardstock is super thick. So I'm not a huge fan of the cardstock, but I still really love the imagery. This was my very first deck that I purchased. All right, so the second deck that I got, because when I got this first one, I noticed that, yes, I like people, but I wanted to try like an animal deck. And so I got this one. And this is called the Animal Spirit deck. Again, a similar sketchy style. There's just one animal depicted on each card, and then in the guidebook it kind of goes into detail about each animal. I really liked the idea here. I don't use this deck very often, to be honest. The card stock is absolutely fine. The back looks kind of like this. I did not the only deck I edged was the Seers Tarot. like these cards are bigger, obviously, than the Light Seers Tarot. But I do really enjoy this deck. I can shuffle it. Like I said, the cardstock is okay. I have rather small hands, and so I have to kind of focus on shuffling these. However, because they're a bigger size and there's not as many cards, I can still do it. Like I said, these are like a sketchy style. In the book, you can read what each card means. These symbols up here matter. It is, you know, part of the earth, fire, air, something like that. Elements, it's the elements. There's also a spirit element. And this kind of made me realize that I do actually really enjoy animal decks, but I kind of want animal decks in certain situations, if that makes sense. Like I want to, I don't know how to explain it, but I wanted a deck that could also depict animals, not in like a human situation, but that I could relate to. That is when I discovered the Roots and Wings Oracle deck. Now, I'm sure you've heard me mention Cat Riles 100 million times. You know, I found Cat on Etsy, actually. These are the backs. I am in love with the green. This like dingy, gross green is my favorite. The size of these cards are perfect for me. And these cards have like a petal finish. That's, I think, what she calls it. But it has like a velvety finish that reminds me of the wheat cork that I have for my covers. And it's just luxurious. Like I said, cardstock matters. So, of course, I messed that one up. These shuffle like a dream. They're my best shuffler. They're the best size. And the imagery. If I haven't told you how much I love Cat Riles enough, I can just relate to her images so much. They are not like, I love the white. Here, let's do this. I love the white space that she uses. They're not over the top. And there's keywords on each of these cards. And then within these keywords in this little booklet, she kind of gives you a sentence of, you know, what you need to be kind of like thinking about. I love this deck. If I had just one deck in my collection, this one would be it. I would trade all deck. If I could only have one, that was the rule. This is my deck that I would choose. I would take, if I had to go somewhere on a trip, this is the deck I choose. I just am so in love with this deck. This is the reason why I bought this deck. This card, because when I found Cat, I found her because my word of the year was rooted, and I buy a sticker for each year. That kind of coincides with my word of the year, and so that is rooted this year, or this. I don't know, maybe 4 years ago, it was rooted. This is a sticker I used. I found her, and then after I found her, she created this deck. I can't express how much that I absolutely love this deck. Now, with this, she has animals. Here's a snake. She has animals, but she also has these like, you know, people. And I feel like instead of it actually being a person that you relate to, right, that you try to put yourself in their shoes, it depicts more of an emotion because it's faceless, it's genderless. You have no idea. And I feel like because it depicts an emotion, this deck is really easy to use as a journaling prompt. So if you are wanting to try journaling with cards, oracle, tarot, anything like that, I highly, highly recommend this deck. It's the one I go back to all the time. It's the one that I use more regularly than anything else. I cannot speak more highly about this. I can't even get them. They don't even want to go back into the pouch because I love them so much. So it's this particular size is a limited edition. However, she has many different, not many, I don't know how many she has on her website, but I did reach out to her and ask her before I created this video if she had them in stock, because they do go out of stock quite frequently. They're loved. So, you know, they go out of stock. It happens. But she does have some in stock at the moment. You can check out her website. I'll have it listed in the description box below. The second one is this one, which is Spacious Tarot. I was actually gifted this by a friend, and she just said that it called to me so much. It was just screaming my name. I will say that this deck is intimidating. This is a tarot deck. So like I said, I'm not 100% like on top of tarot, right? I don't know exactly what's going on. This is a tarot deck. It's humongous. Not only does it come with all these cards, and the cards are big, so this is like a hard thing for me to shuffle in my hand. These are the backs, by the way. They're really cute. But I also was gifted the expansion pack, and I don't even like it. Amazing, right? So not only do they have the astrology signs, so Sagittarius, Aries, Cancer, all that, but it also has some extra cards, like extra word cards connection, but then I think there's also the elements as well. So I got the expansion pack, which I keep in this little pocket, and then I got the whole tarot deck here. One thing that I struggle with is that, one, this deck is large, so I have to shuffle kind of like this instead of riffle shuffle. I love to riffle shuffle. I have these in order, so I'm trying not to get them out of order. And two, the imagery. Now for me, again, I struggle with understanding tarot. And so when I see a simple, it is Spacious Tarot, that's what it's called. So these images are more simplistic. When I see a simple card, where do I go from here? Right? Like, I don't know what this is trying to tell me. So I struggle with drawing a prompt from each card. Not all of them, but some of them, you know. So I really haven't utilized this deck. I want to. Another thing that I really like is the cards itself aren't too flimsy. Like, they're more on the stiffer side, but they have a really fun matte finish that I really enjoy. I like matte, not shiny. So I am excited to eventually get into this. I just haven't, and you'll kind of understand why. I was just gifted this within the last 6 months, and I've been doing a deep dive on something else, which I will show you in a minute. So Spacious Tarot, haven't worked with it, excited to work with it. It's got its own little case. I feel like the case fits it. Kat actually made this. Thanks, Kat. The next one, second to last, is Phases and Forests Oracle deck. This is again by Kat Riles. I was lucky enough to have been part of the Kickstarter. So I not only I put it back in this box because I feel like this is the box you would get, but I got real lucky and I was able to snag a wooden box as well. Ugh, gorgeous. It's just, I keep all my Kat Ryle goodies in here. Well, actually, I switched out the contents for the video, but you get it. Yes, it's amazing. So these are the backs. Holy cow, right? Like, amazing backs. But these cards, oh my goodness. If you want, this is a great, if you want to learn how to journal and have prompts specifically for you so you don't have to pull them from anything, this deck is perfect. I say you could go for either one, honestly. But this deck is really great too because she actually has prompts on here. So this one says centered. You can pull from the imagery, right? Or you can talk about this prompt, which says, when do you feel most centered and most like yourself? And each card is like that. Each card is so detailed that you could really dive into the layers of, you know, the artwork. And I don't know. I just, how can you not love this? So this is her newest deck, Phases and Forests. It is edged itself. She edged it. It's not edged itself. She edged it with this coppery color. They are very large cards. I think that's my only complaint. However, how can you, like, it needed to be large, right? It needed to be large. Can they shuffle? Yes, they can. Is it a little bit of a cramped situation? Yes, it is. Do I care? No, I don't. These cards are the same exact finish as her first deck. It is that like, what did I say earlier? Petal finish. It just feels so, oh, look at that top again. It just feels so luxurious. I mean, yep. If I could have 2 decks in my collection, it would be, and that's it. That's all I could have. It would definitely be these 2. All right, my last deck, the last one I want to talk about is this, which is the Forager's Daughters Tarot. Now, I bought this because Heather Mattern, look at that. Okay, first, one, Cicada. Okay, she showed me this deck because she thought that it would call the Me Too, which super grateful for. The box, beautiful. It has Cicada all over it, on the back of the cards too, and it has it in the inside of the box. Like, I can't put this one in a pouch because it's just too gorgeous. These are edged with the gold. I would say I don't really care about this type of edging. I like the Phases and Forests edging better. And I don't know if you can see that on camera, but mine are starting to like chip. Again, don't care. So these are the backs, and then the fronts are equally as beautiful. Obviously, I have a thing. I like animal decks, right? I like nature decks. That's kind of, if you look at my, even light seers, everyone's outside. And they're surrounded by, like, you know, nature. I have been doing a deep dive with this deck with Heather and Kat Riles. We all got this deck, so that way we could pull cards and we could share with each other what we thought of the illustration, the imagery, what we thought it meant. I put that upside down for you. I have enjoyed this process immensely, that I want to continue doing it with other decks, and I am grateful that Heather and Kat are doing this with me, because I don't know what everything means, right? Page of Pentacles, I have no idea, but I do know dandelions are my favorite flower. So if I got this card, I'd be super excited, because dandelions are amazing. If you don't know anything about dandelions, know this, that when you cut them in your yard, they will grow back shorter, so that way they don't get cut down. They are amazing. I drink dandelion tea. Look them up. They're my favorite flower. So anyway, we are doing a deep dive on this deck. It's been really fun. I will say that the cardstock is beautiful. These are a bigger card size, and they're a full tarot deck, so 70 blah blah blah, 78, I don't know tarot, but they're linen, so they shuffle so nicely, and I have a great time with this deck. I've been having a great time with this deck. The art style is not something that I would naturally be drawn to, but I love the idea of her guidebook. Okay, I have not shown any guidebooks yet besides Kat's, because I thought that was important for Roots and Wings. And Phases and Forests has the same kind of booklet. But the guidebook for the Forager's Daughters Tarot is pretty amazing, because it gives you a full page, and then it gives you a dissection, where the card's going, a reflection of why she kind of chose what she chose, a position of keywords, of if you do it upright or reverse, and then the sign. I can't talk more about how awesome this guidebook is. Oh, I've never pulled this card, the Sun. That card's cool. Anyway, it's such a great guidebook. And so if you're ever on the fence about the Forager's Tarot, oh my gosh, the Forager's Daughter's Tarot, I suggest picking yourself up this. It's awesome, and supporting like an indie artist. Now remember, with all of these, I don't know if it's an indie artist, but indie deck. With all of these, you are getting however many cards she created or they created, you're getting that many pieces of art. That is something else that I really think is valuable. If I was to sell a postcard, 78 postcards, I sell my postcards for like $3.50. You know, times that by 78 and see how much money that would be. Now, these guys got them printed on actual cards, actual cardstock. You get a box, you get all this stuff. Like, it is so worth the money. If you enjoy someone's art and they've created a deck and you just want the deck for like collection of art purposes, it is a great steal for you to savor the artwork from each deck. So anyway, I know that this was a different video for me. It's not something that I normally share about, but I have been using these cards for journaling purposes for a while now. You've probably, if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen it a little bit. I post a card a day. Like when I pull a card, there are times, I go through phases, but there are times where I post the card that I pulled that day. And when I was doing it with the phases and forests, I would ask a journaling prompt, not necessarily the one that Kat provided on here, because I feel like that's not technically fair, but I do ask something in line with the card, or maybe something else is in the card that spoke to me, so I ask a prompt around that. But if you would like to get into journaling and you've been struggling, or you want to get back into journaling and you've hit like this lull and you just need something, I suggest looking into these. And you know what? There are tons of decks on, if you wanted a pre-loved deck or anything like that, there are tons of decks. You can find them on thrift books. You can find them on Macari. Obviously, you can find them on eBay. Look around, because, you know, these decks, you have to buy them to see if there's something that you enjoy. Like, for instance, I love the Newman Tarot. Hang on, I wrote it down. Let me look. I love the White Newman Tarot's illustrations. I love them. But I have also felt the deck, and from me feeling it and the cardstock, I just hated it. So the only reason I would have purchased it would be just for the artwork. For me, that doesn't give it enough value, because I want to use them in my journal spreads, and I want to be able to shuffle them and move them around in my hands. And if I don't like how they feel in my hands, then I struggle to actually utilize them. So when you buy something like that, you're unwrapping it, you're doing all that. You can't return that. So it's hard to know what you like. So picking it up secondhand is not necessarily a bad thing. For instance, I actually picked this deck up secondhand, and the only thing that was wrong with it, this is the Animal Spirit deck. I got it off of thrift books. Maybe it was Amazon pre-loved. Okay, I got it somewhere pre-loved, but it comes with a guidebook, and I'll show you the guidebook so that way you can see how things come. But this is the guidebook. But the only thing wrong with it was there's this crease right here in the guidebook, and that showed me that it was used. Everything else is perfectly fine. I do have like little tabs and notes and stuff, but everything else is super fine. It's just this guidebook has a bend at the cover. That's it. Just a bend. But I got it pre-loved. I think it was half off the original cost. So look into that if this is something that you're interested in. Anyway, I hope you had a great time looking through my collection. Also, if these types of videos interest you, I suggest that you subscribe to Heather Mattern. She is going to do a deck collection video as well. There are tons of deck collection videos out there, but her and we consider ourselves newbies to this. And so if you are a newbie too and you want to relate to one of us, I suggest checking out her video. I will list her in the description box below. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And until next time, everyone, I'll see ya.